Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, President Biden calls on Congress to act on gun control legislation after 2 mass shootings in the span of a week take the lives of nearly 20 people. What he wants to see done, coming up. Plus, Kern County residents are waking up with loosened coronavirus restrictions for the first time since last fall, as we finally make the move back into the red tier. We'll tell you what changes come now. And with more and more of the population getting vaccinated against COVID-19, we have concerns are rising about what the virus is doing to survive, mutating into new strains. What doctors in Oregon found on this Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. Good morning, Kern County, and thanks so much for starting your day with us on this Wednesday morning. We are halfway through our work week, and boy, has the weather just been absolutely picture perfect, Maddie. We've got the clouds in the afternoon. It was a little bit windy yesterday, which is something that I definitely noticed, but the sun is out, and the temperatures are absolutely gorgeous, especially for our afternoons.
I was taken aback by how cool and cloudy it was yesterday morning, actually, when I was waiting to get the kids. I was like, I don't have enough layers on here. What is going on? But yeah, when it started to clear out in the afternoons, even up in the mountains, it was very pretty. So looking for more of that and more clearing headed our way. Let's check in with Kevin now for your Wednesday weather.
Good morning. Yeah, I've been doing double duty, and yesterday I decided to take my live shot out to the park at Riverwalk, and I'll tell you, people were out and about, kids were on the playground, and just talking to people about those restrictions kind of being loosened up today. They were very excited to see that, but also cautious at the same time. But people were definitely having a good day at the park at Riverwalk, and the weather was beautiful. There was a little bit of a breeze out there as well. We've got clear skies out there right now, and that will continue as we go throughout our day here. We've got a temperature in Bakersfield at 46 now, under a calm wind, and as we take a look at the hour by hour, lots of sunshine throughout the day. We will see a little bit of cloud cover approach by tonight once again, but temperatures are going to be near 70 this afternoon. Out of Tehachapi, 25 degrees, definitely a chilly start, no winds at this time, and we did have a wind advisory for the Tehachapi area. That canceled out right now at 5 a.m., but we're still going to keep that wind advisory through 11 o'clock on Thursday for the desert location of Kern County, so keep that in mind if you're traveling out that way. And you can see hour by hour here, plenty of sunshine, and we've got temperatures expected into the 50s this afternoon, so a very nice day ahead. I'll have much more coming your way in just a little bit. Back over to you.
All right, thanks, Kev. 2 mass shootings in less than a week in Colorado and Atlanta have put a new issue on the agenda in Washington: gun control. We've seen it happen before. People are killed and Congress talks about restricting guns, and then nothing happens. Will this time be any different? Tracy Potts has our story.
Hi, Maddie. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We have been down this road before. We've seen the cycle: shock, grief, and inaction. The president was in Congress the last time we saw major gun reform, and now he's calling on lawmakers to do something they haven't done in 3 decades. In the wake of Monday's grocery store shooting in Colorado, where 10 people died.
It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. It's tragic.
And last week's spa killings in Atlanta with 8 victims, there are renewed calls in Washington for gun control.
These despicable acts of violence should need to be condemned for what they are, but the legislative solutions have been perplexing.
Lawmakers frustrated by their own failure to act.
Inaction by this Congress makes us complicit.
Every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater.
We are numb to the numbers. Unless we are personally touched, it's just another statistic. That has got to stop.
The House of Representatives has passed 2 bills expanding background checks. Their future uncertain in the Senate, where one Democrat, Senator Joe Manchin, opposes them. It would take him and 10 Republicans to become law.
The United States Senate, I hope some are listening, should immediately pass the 2 House-passed bills that close loopholes in the background check system.
President Biden is also calling on Congress to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. But lawmakers haven't approved significant gun laws in 30 years. Instead, flags fly at half-staff. and makeshift memorials with no solutions to prevent this from happening again. The numbers do tell a story here. Since the Columbine massacre, that's been more than 20 years ago, there have been 114 mass shootings in America with more than 1,300 victims. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
In education news this morning, a new superintendent has been named for the Bakersfield City School District. Mark Lukey has been appointed by the Board of Education. Lukey currently serves as deputy superintendent of the district and has more than 20 years of experience in education. Lukey replaces Doc Irvin, who recently announced he accepted a job in San Bernardino as its superintendent. Lukey's first day as superintendent will be July 1st. Bakersfield College is among the top California colleges when it comes to Latino students and their success. BC is ranked third in the list of schools where Latino students are earning certificates and degrees, and fourth among institutions with the highest Hispanic enrollment in the state. Bakersfield College is a federally designed Hispanic serving institution. It says 70% of associate degrees for transfer earners identified as Hispanic or Latino in 2019 and 2020. BC says they have worked on improving student outcomes, reducing achievement gaps, and increasing access for all students.
From our 17 News follow-up file, it's been 3 months since a fire destroyed Tina Marie's Cafe in downtown Bakersfield. Last night, we learned fire officials can't determine what caused it. Bakersfield Fire Department spokesman Michael Walkley tells 17 News since the fire destroyed everything, the cause is undetermined. Tina Marie's has been a fixture downtown for nearly 2 decades. Owner Tina Marie Brown plans to rebuild, but has said it will likely take about a year. An energy technology company is breaking ground on a new solar energy microgrid site in Arvin. Concentric Power Incorporated said in a news release it will build the microgrid for Tasteful Selections, a locally owned potato growing, packing, and shipping operation. The power company says a microgrid will help meet Tasteful Selections' demand for energy and allow them to have energy independence. They say the company will save more than 40% on its energy costs.
In your 17 Crime Watch, Bakersfield police arrested a man accused of leading officers on a chase in a stolen vehicle. Around 5 o'clock Monday night, officers found a stolen car on Lansing Drive, just a few blocks away at the corner of Stockdale and New Stein. Officers tried to stop the car, but the driver took off, leading police on a chase. Police say the driver eventually left the car in the area of Weibel Road and White Lane and then ran off. But officers eventually caught up to him. He is identified as 21-year-old Kision Lutu. He faces several charges. Bakersfield police need your help to find a man wanted for breaking into a local business. It happened back on February 20th at Lorraine's downtown, near the corner of 23rd and Chester. Police say the man broke into Lorraine's and took several items. He is described as a medium height and build, with a mustache and long black hair. If you know who this person is or any information about the burglary, call police. Meantime, the sheriff's office needs help tracking down 2 suspects wanted for robbery at a local shoe store. Deputies say a man and a woman attacked an employee and took merchandise at the WSS shoe store on Niles Street. This happened back on March 8th. Deputies say the suspects took off in a silver SUV with black stripes and custom rims. There was another suspect in the SUV, according to police, or according to officials, I should say. And if you've seen the suspects or the SUV, call the sheriff's office at 861-3110.
A woman was arrested after police say she passed out behind the wheel in a Tehachapi Burger King drive-thru and was too intoxicated to answer simple questions or walk on her own. Police say 35-year-old Audrey Sandelius was unable to even give officers her name during the incident back on March 15th. Police said bottles of vodka were visible in the truck. Her response to every question, according to police, was, "Hi, sweetie." Sandelius was arrested on suspicion of DUI.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. In your road work file, if you travel on California Avenue, you may want to plan another route. California Avenue will be closed in both directions tonight and tomorrow night for work. The closure is between Easton Drive and Morello Way, between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. Traffic will be detoured using Oak Street to Truxton Avenue to Mohawk if traveling east, and the other way if you're headed west.
Welcome back here at 519. People visited a memorial yesterday outside the King Superstore in Boulder, where 10 people were killed. Boulder residents were stopping by all day to pay their respects. and they kept coming even as it started to snow. Katie Eastman reports.
What's lost in a list of 10 can't be put on one piece of paper. 10 people who lost their lives.
It hit me like an absolute freight train. I was supposed to be here.
There's a loss of feeling safe.
Felt safe past tense. I don't know where you really can feel safe anymore. If you can't go to the grocery store, where can you go?
We have really wonderful people here.
Jeff Hooker lost his coworker, Ricky Oltz. He called her dynamite.
She's a manager. A good one, too.
Alan Woolley lost his friend, Terry Leiker. They did Special Olympics together, and he used to work with her at This King Soopers.
So in shock, her smile, and made everybody feel good inside, every day when she was working.
Beauty in Boulder usually brings solace, but even that is a reminder of what is gone.
I took a long walk today and got to see the sun on the Flatirons, and I thought, wow, 10 people didn't get to see the sun on the Flatirons this morning.
That sense of loss compelled people to bring the beauty here, to a place where lost people find each other.
It's shocking, and I don't know how else to wrap my head around it besides coming back to see the damage done and pay my respects to the people who lost their lives for absolutely no reason.
And we're learning more about the suspect behind that deadly attack. 21-year-old Ahmad Alisa has been charged in the killing of 10 people, including a police officer. He's facing 10 counts of first-degree murder in the shooting spree. While the investigation continues to try and learn the motive behind the shootings, the nation mourns. President Biden has ordered all flags to be lowered to half staff at military posts, naval vessels, and public buildings to honor the victims.
Making headlines around the state this morning, an Asian American woman was repeatedly punched in the face after being attacked by 3 purse snatchers and then dragged behind their car along a street in San Francisco. A portion of the incident that took place on Sunday was caught on cell phone video. It shows the victim, who identified herself only as Clarice, holding onto the suspect's speeding car before being thrown off and landing in the middle of the road. She is Asian American, but says she is not sure the attack was racially motivated. The woman has an eye injury, bruises on her face and arm, and cuts on her hand and foot. Police are still looking for the alleged attackers.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back in your 17 Business Watch. And Tinder and Lyft make a post-pandemic match. As lockdowns lift and restrictions ease nationwide, more people are heading out and meeting up. The folks at Tinder say mentions of go on a date hit an all-time high over the past few weeks, and Lyft's weekly ridership volume is skyrocketing. So the two apps are teaming up, allowing Tinder users to book their dates a Lyft ride directly through the Tinder app. There's no timeline for when this feature will be live. We're told it's in the works for a post-pandemic world.
The road to the Final Four is upon us, and teams across the country are competing for college basketball's top prize. Fans are actively competing as well, whether it's an online or office pool. Hundreds of hours are being whittled away during the workday. NBC's Dan Sheneman takes a look at the loss of productivity during March Madness.
Offices, both in-person and virtual, are obsessed with office pools.
It's potentially the most damaging to productivity that we'll ever see, because so many people are working from home. So many people are desperate for an activity like March Madness to take part in.
Andy Challenger of career outplacement firm Challenger Gray & Christmas projects 72 million workers worried about bracket busters may bust some budgets, costing employers some $2.2 billion per hour.
It's one of those situations where you don't necessarily recognize how much you missed something until it's gone.
Adam Borland is a clinical psychologist with Cleveland Clinic. He suggests companies use the interest in the big dance to their advantage.
The tournament always creates a sense of community, which I think people really need nowadays.
Instead of calling foul, Borland suggests call a timeout.
If watching tournament games is something that you're passionate about, then great. However, it is going to obviously require balance so that you're not neglecting your work.
And while productivity may be down, as far as improving morale, it's a slam dunk.
This feels like an easy makeshift way for people to start to connect with each other, talk to each other about something exciting and fun that's not the daily business item.
This year, March Madness, part of a return to normalcy. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
As vaccination efforts continue, doctors in Oregon are discovering evidence that the COVID-19 virus is trying to survive in their area. A grim reminder that the pandemic is far from over. Catherine Cook reports.
The virus is changing and trying to evolve as we're trying to fight the virus. And
Dr. Brian O'Rourke is part of a specialized team at Oregon Health and Science University tracking how the COVID-19 virus is changing in Oregon. Their Oregon SARS-CoV-2 Genome Sequencing Center is studying about 1% of the state's cases. A small sample, but one that led to a surprising discovery, the more contagious and deadly variant of the COVID-19 virus, known as B.1.1.7. Originally found in the UK, it's been spreading across the United States.
That we knew it was just kind of a matter of time before they would enter the U.S. and start to spread in our communities.
O'Rourke's team shared their findings with the Oregon State Public Health Lab. Further tests revealed another, even more concerning discovery.
There were additional mutations happening in that outbreak, including this E484K mutation.
Also known as the EEK mutation. Scientists have found it in Brazil, South Africa, and the UK, but Oregon's case was the first in the U.S. Doctors believe it happened here spontaneously, a sign that the virus is evolving.
Why it's being called by some people EEK is that it might allow the virus to have some resistance to antibodies. And, depending on how much resistant, that may make vaccines, less effective at preventing COVID-19.
O'Rourke says even against virus variants, the vaccine is still effective in preventing severe disease and death. As we aim for herd immunity, he says the most important takeaway from these discoveries is the importance of staying the course, follow COVID-19 protocols, and wear masks in public.
If we can keep viral transmission at a minimum, we can really stop these variants of concern from kind of overwhelming our country like they've done in the UK and South Africa and Brazil.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.